All right, old school NBA fans, self-researched, NBA facts. Got another video for you. As always, thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. Want to give a special thanks to my man, the real Siberius. Again, coming through with the super thanks. Thank you very much. I really appreciate all your contributions, all your support, your generosity. Thank you. I want to address one thing real quick. A lot of trolls come through this channel. They get all bent out of shape whenever I bring up anything about LeBron James. And look, ESPN and Fox News, the big media, they run stuff 24/7 about LeBron James. He could do no wrong. Everything he does, the best ever. They crap all over Michael Jordan. They crap all over previous eras. So my small little YouTube channel, which for some reason you guys are even concerned about, which is baffling in itself, is the anti-ESPN, Fox News, Bleacher Report, all these other major outlets that continue to prop up LeBron James, okay? This is also partly about not erasing history of the NBA. I've had it with that stuff. You know, it happened. There were great players, great teams in every era, all right? It isn't just anything not in the LeBron James area is garbage. You know, you guys are garbage. How about that? You're a bunch of brainwashed sheep that just follow mindlessly what these people say. You know, I'm trying to give you a little insight here. And all you want to do is try to go against everything that you're told, even in the comments. Not just me, people in the comments try to set you guys straight. You don't want to hear it? Well, fine. Then what are you even doing on this channel then? You got, man, I'll never understand this whole troll business. But anyway, whatever. So this video here is quite simply about the greatest championship runs in NBA history. I realized I've never did a video on this to give my perspective on this. And there's a lot to choose from. And I think there's a couple runs that get a little overrated and a couple runs that are a little underrated. And that's kind of what I want to talk about, because I've never really agreed with what a lot of people say. Again, the big media, of course, they always have an agenda. Pretty much everything they talk about is always in regard to somehow, in a roundabout way, some sort of an angle to make LeBron James look better than he actually is or was. That's every time, no matter what the subject, it's always going to come back around to that. Whether it's competition, they're the best ever, you know, they're elevated big time. If it's teammates, they're all bums, they're scrubs, they're overrated, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, LeBron did his part. Look at his numbers. You know, anybody who knows basketball knows that's just not how this works. It's about maximizing your potential, getting as much out of your teammates as you can. Just because you got points don't mean anything. Do you guys let Michael Jordan off the hook in 1986 when he scored 63 points on Boston Celtics, forced a double overtime in Boston, the only team to even do that in 40 home games? No, you don't. All you see is, oh, Jordan got swept by Boston. You're not going to look at the numbers and see he scored 112 points in the first two games of that series. No, of course not. And me personally, yeah, that was great individual, whatever, but it wasn't enough. You know what I mean? And of course, that was against maybe the first or the second greatest team of all time that we're talking about here. So to me, it doesn't affect anything because how great the competition was and how poor of a team Jordan was on. But anyway, off topic. So there's been a lot of good runs in NBA history, but there's only been a couple that were kind of really standout ones, I guess you could say. A couple honorable mention runs I got here. I got the 2004 Detroit Pistons. That was definitely a great run. They beat Milwaukee. It was 41-41 the first round. That was the 7 seed. They were the 2 seed themselves. I think they were 54-28. In the semifinals, they beat New Jersey, who was 47-35, the 3 seed, but they were the 2-time defending East champions. And then in the East Conference Finals, they beat Indiana, the 1 seed, who was 61-21. And then, of course, in the finals, upset the Lakers, who were 58-24. And that was a huge upset in 5 games, no doubt about it. And that was one of the great, a great run, no doubt. Top 10 all time, you'd have to say. Most of it had to do with upsetting the Lakers, who, just won a three-peat 4 years before that. But I wouldn't say one of the top 5. There are better runs. 2019 Toronto Raptors, that is certainly one of them. They beat Orlando in the first round. They were 42-40, the 7 seed. They beat the 76ers in the semifinals. Actually, it wasn't a bad team, 51-31, the 3 seed. Then in the Eastern Conference Finals, they upset Milwaukee, who was a 60-22 team. And then they upset Golden State, even though they didn't have Kevin Durant. Still, it was a great run to beat the 2-time defending champions in 6 games. It was excellent. And also the 1973 Knicks, they beat Baltimore Bullets, who were 52-30. They had Elvin Hayes, Wes Unseld, Phil Chenier, Archie Clark, really good team. And then they beat Boston, who was 68-14 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, granted, John Havlicek separated his shoulder, and that pretty much crushed Boston's chances. But still, they were 68-14. That's the 6th best record of all time. Looks like Oklahoma City might be moving up in that area. Might have a new team to crack into that, 68-plus win group. But until they do, Boston is the 6th best. Dave Cowens won the MVP. You had All-Star JoJo White, Hall of Famer. Really, really great team. But Havlicek separating his shoulder really killed it for Boston, and the Knicks won in 7. But the Knicks, like I said, they beat a 52-win team in the semifinals. Even though Havlicek was injured, still a nice win. And then in the finals, beating the defending champion Lakers, who had the biggest season ever as far as point differential, the 72 Lakers. They come back. They're a 60-win team again. Gail Goodrich, Jerry West. Jerry West was first-team All-NBA. Wilt Chamberlain finished 6th for MVP. And they beat that team in 5 games. So that you have to say that's a great run, no doubt about it. But this is my opinion of the 5 greatest runs of all time. Number 5, the 1978 Washington Bullets. They were only 44-38. That has a lot to do with it. That's the worst record to ever win a championship. The first round, they beat Atlanta. Atlanta, nothing special. They were a 500 team, 41-41. They were the 6th seed. They beat them in a best-of-3, 2-0. Okay, whatever. In the semifinals, they beat San Antonio 4-2. San Antonio was a 52-30 team. They were the 2 seed. They were the number 4 net-rated team. They had George Gervin, runner-up for MVP. This was no slouch. Again, Washington's a 44-win team. They did not have any serious injuries. They just had a great run. East Conference Finals, they beat Philly, who was 55-27, the number 1 seed, the number 2 net-rated team, and they beat them in 6 games. That's excellent for a team of that low of a record. And then they get to the finals, and they play Seattle. And Seattle's a good team. They were only the 4 seed, but they were only a couple wins away from the 1 seed. They won a hard-fought one in 7 games. Seattle was the number 6 net-rated team. So they played 3 of the top 6 net-rated teams in a row in the playoffs and beat them in 7, like I said. A very improbable championship, considering this team is a 44-38 team. And this wasn't a situation where they acquired somebody at the trade deadline. No. They just got hot and had a hot run, a great run. So that's why I got them at number 5.
Trailing the Washington Bullets 101-97. It begins. Freddie Brown. In and out. And the rebound put back up and in by Paul Silas with 18 seconds. Changed his free throw shooting style in the playoffs, leading with that right foot. And Conley comes back after missing 3 in a row and hitting those 2 important ones. which put the Bullets up by 4. It began 8 months ago. Dennis Johnson begins the countdown. They must shoot quickly. It is in and out. Unsell with control. It is about to end. Bobby Dandridge, he will be our most valuable player. Bobby Dandridge voted the CBS most valuable player here in the NBA Championship Series.
Number 4, who I actually have reconsidered my position. It's too late because of the graphics, but I think this team should be actually number 3. But I'll let it play out as is. But upon doing some research, just since I did the graphics on this, I think that Portland in 1977 should be the number 3 best run. But we're going to leave it as it is for now. So the 1977 Portland Trailblazers. The reason why I think that they're as good as they were. So in the first round, they beat the Bulls 2 out of 3. Okay. They were the number 9 net rated team. Not bad for a first round team to have to play. In the semifinals, they played the 2 seed Denver, 50-32, the number 2 net rated team in 6 games. Denver had Dan Issel, David Thompson, both are in the Hall of Fame. They were a really good team. The net rating makes me think that they just lost more games than they should have, but they were definitely a legit team, no doubt about it. They were legit in the ABA, always making deep runs and stuff, but they're one of the teams that went right into the NBA, going from the ABA to the NBA and immediately winning 50 games. They were legit, number 2 net rated. In the conference finals, they beat the Lakers, the number 1 seed, 53-29. They were number 5 net rated team. And again, Portland is a 49-33 team, the 3 seed. So they get to the finals. They play Philly. They beat Philly in 6 games. Now, Philly is a 50-32 team. The 1 seed out east. Number 3 net rated team in the NBA. So Portland beat the top 2 seeds in the West and the top seed in the East. That's a great run right there. A great run. So that's why I think they should be number 3.
He wants them in there to settle them down. Steve Jones said, they're all getting ready to go bananas, but again, the game is not over until the gun has gone off, and Philadelphia still has a chance. Portland has to move the ball and handle themselves a little bit better in this pressure situation. No championship. Everybody will count the 27 seconds down. The magnificent Julius Erving goes off now to Joe Bryant. Walton rejects another one. Outside, McGinnis hits a field goal. They're right there, Brent, at 1. Here he is. Gross takes the inbound pass, and McGinnis is over there to tie him up. Philadelphia needing a break off the tap. It goes to free. They can tie it. Philadelphia can tie it. Hernandez, the doctor outside. Off iron. Free with a rebound. 7. Gross is over there on him. I don't know what he's doing. Here's McGinnis. Lucas comes out. McGinnis for the tie. It's off. He's back.
So number 3, who I actually now believe is number 4, is hyped up a lot. Now, this is a great run. I mean, they're obviously a top 4 championship run of all time, so it's not like they're not getting their fair shake here. But I think they're hopped up just a little more than they should be, and I'll explain why. The Dallas Mavericks in 2011. I got them at number 3, but actually, like I said, I've reconsidered, and I really have them at number 4. In the first round, they beat Portland Trailblazers, who were 48-34, and they beat them in 6 games. Pretty good team. They were the number 12 net rated team, so, right around middle of the pack, whatever, about what you'd expect for a first round matchup. In the next round, they beat the Lakers. The Lakers are the 2-time defending champion. That definitely is a factor. No question. They were the 2 seed, the number 3 net rated team in the NBA. No doubt about it. They swept them, and that's where a lot of people point to right there as being powerful. And I agree, it is. But here's my thing. Dallas and the Lakers had the same record. They were basically about as good as each other. Dallas just played better in that series, much better actually. But it's not like the Lakers were way better than Dallas. They just weren't. They were pretty close to the same level team, so it wasn't like it was some huge upset. The sweep is what makes it, kind of special, I guess you could say. But then in the conference finals, they beat Oklahoma City 4-1. That's great. It's a really young team, blah, blah, blah. Oklahoma City's 55-27. They're the number 9 net rated team. They're the 4 seed, though. If Dallas would have played and beaten number 1 seed San Antonio that year, I would have been on board with them of rivaling the number 1 team. No question about it. But I can't get there because they did not beat the number 1 seed in the West. That has a lot to do with it. Now OKC, that's a nice win, but they were definitely not as good as Dallas. In the finals, they played Miami. Miami was the 2 seed, 58-24, the number 1 net rated team. Absolutely. And they came back from 2-1 to win that series. No question. That was a very, very good run. But Miami was only 1 win better than they were. And sure, Dallas probably overall was not as good as Miami. And it was a great run. Let's not sit here and say, like, oh, why you hating on Dallas? I'm not. I'm saying they're a top 4 playoff run, championship run of all time. That's hardly hating on them. But I just think Portland's was a little better because they beat the top 2 seeds out west and then the top seed in the East. So that means when you play the top seeds, in the conference finals, in the finals, they're still playing really good basketball because they made it all the way there. So not only were they dominant during the regular season, they translated into the playoffs. So it's kind of even tougher to do that. But anyway, either way, Dallas was a great run. No question about it. I would say it's probably the best championship run of the 21st century. I don't see how there's any doubt about that.
The first time Kobe Bryant and Dirk Nowitzki have met in the postseason. Nice throw from Jason Terry. Nowitzki on 3. Drives on Gasol, stops, left-handed, flips it up and in.
Oklahoma City got whatever they wanted. Game 3, Dallas was in lockdown mode.
And Marion able to finish down the other end. And the balling continues. Pulls up, puts it in. Dirk Nowitzki. Dallas still fighting back. Falling away. Oh, he puts it in. Dirk Nowitzki knocks it down. Unbelievable comeback from the Dallas Mavericks. And a foul. And the Dallas Mavericks are going back to the NBA Finals.
Number 2, I got the 1969 Boston Celtics. I know, it's before my time. It's before most of your guys' time. Absolutely. But let's not diminish it just based on that fact. Boston, in the semifinals, played Philly. They were the number 2 seed. They were the 3rd net-rated team in the NBA. They were 55-27. Something to keep in mind, Boston was only a 48-34 team. They were the 4 seed. There's only been 1 team in NBA history lower than a 3 seed to win the championship, and Boston is one of them. After beating Philly 5 games in the conference semifinals, probably a better team than Boston, they then beat the Knicks, who were the 3 seed. They had some screwy thing where the 1 played the 3, the 2 played the 4. It was weird. But anyway, so they played the Knicks and beat them. They were a 54-28 team. The number 1 net-rated team in the NBA. They beat them in 6 games. And then they go to the finals where they play the Lakers. The Lakers, the 1 seed out west, the number 4 net-rated team. They beat them in 7 games. Obviously a great run for a 48-34 team. I think that's the 3rd worst record ever win a championship. But here's where it gets historic. Philadelphia had Hal Greer and Billy Cunningham, top 75 players. The Knicks had Willis Reed, Walt Frazier, and Dave DeBusschere, all 3 top 75 players. The Lakers had Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, and Wilt Chamberlain, top 75 players. So that means they beat 8 top 75 players in that playoff run. That's the most of all time by anybody. To me, that makes this run really special. A great run. Nobody was actually picking Boston to win it. They were a 48-34 team. And I added a clip here because I wanted people to see at the end of this game, people that love to crap on Bill Russell, look in the last 2 minutes who makes critical defensive plays to cinch the championship. Go ahead, take a look.
West, the most valuable player of the league, with about 3 to go. Erickson tried to feed Baylor. It's stolen by Boston. Havlicek. 105 to 102, a minute and 15 to go. The Lakers.
Excuse me, Chris. The Celtics double teaming. They would rather have Egan or Erickson take the shot than West.
40 seconds to go. Mel counts, drives on Russell. Can't get it up, and Russell takes it away. 34 seconds to go. And time has run out, and the Boston Celtics have done it again.
Bill Russell's damn near at the free throw line. And in a split second, he's underneath the basket, deflecting a pass, knocking it to his teammate. These are the things that people don't realize about Bill Russell. All they do is read the stat sheet. Oh, he wasn't a very good shooter. He had a bunch of Hall of Famers. Oh, yeah, that just sums up Bill Russell. You guys have no clue what you're talking about. Bill Russell was unbelievable. His talent, his leadership, his intangibles, his IQ, his mental fortitude. The guy was ridiculous. So the number one run, in my opinion, in NBA history, probably not going to be a surprise, the 1995 Houston Rockets. They were 47-35, and they were a 6 seed. And a lot of people I've heard say that, well, the record is misleading because they got Clyde Drexler that enhanced the record. While that's true, here's where I push back hard on that. The Rockets had a better record without Clyde Drexler than with Clyde Drexler in the regular season. Look that up. That's a fact. They just gelled at the right time. They were just clicking. In the first round, they beat the Utah Jazz in a best-of-5 in 5 games. Utah was the 3 seed, 60-22. They were the number 1 net-rated team. In the semifinals, they beat Phoenix. After being down 3-1, they come back to win it in 7. Phoenix was 59-23, the number 2 seed. Then in the conference finals, they beat the San Antonio Spurs, the number 1 seed, got the MVP, got 2 All-NBA players, Dennis Rodman and David Robinson, on that team. The number 4 net-rated team. They take them down in 6 games and show who the real MVP is. And then in the finals, they beat Orlando, the number 1 seed in the East, 57-25. They were the number 3 net-rated team. They swept them out, and that makes Houston, without any doubt, the best championship run in NBA history. They beat the top 3 seeds in the West and the number 1 seed in the East. So that's essentially, most likely, the 4 best teams in the NBA. They beat them all in one playoff run. No one's ever done that before. I don't think that the number 2 seed in the East, I think it was, Indiana? Yeah, I don't think so. They weren't the best team. Actually, I think it might have been the Knicks. It might have been the 2 seed. I think they were like 55-27. They got upset by Indiana in the semifinals. But anyway, regardless, no question, Houston beat the 4 best teams in the NBA. And they did it in 5 in the first round, best of 5. Did it in 7 in the semifinals. Tough, hard-fought series, all of them. And what can you say? This is the best run of all time. And Hakeem Olajuwon cemented himself after this run with the back-to-back as a top 10 all-time player. You can decide where you want to put him, but you have Hakeem outside the top 10. I question your knowledge about the NBA's history. I'm sorry, I do. If you don't have Hakeem Olajuwon in the top 10, then you guys are just mindless sheep. People like Chris Broussard think Olajuwon's not top 10, but think Steph Curry might be. Fools, though know nothing of NBA history. So let me leave you with this clip right here.
Of the 71 championship teams since the birth of the NBA in 1947, 52 of those teams were 1 seeds, 10 were 2 seeds, 7 were 3 seeds, 1 won it as a 4 seed, and then there was a team that managed to win it all despite never having home court advantage throughout the playoffs as the 6th seed. And after this series where they beat the 3rd seed Utah Jazz, there was hope. Like Hakeem said, then we beat Utah and I believed. Karl Malone, John Stockton, and Coach Jerry Sloan and that whole team. They won 60 that season. They were for real. They were a championship level team, so when we beat them, I thought, well, anything is possible. It all came down to one possession with the Rockets down 2. Out of the double team, the Rockets get it to the corner to Mario Elie, a midseason pickup for them who sinks the game-winning 3. And the Rockets once again defied the odds to beat the Suns 105-104 and advance to the conference finals. Rebound performance in Game 6 that still to date ranks as one of the best closeout performances of all time. And so the 6-seed Rockets miraculously made it to the finals. Shaq, who in his third year averaged 29 points and 13 rebounds, was too big and too strong for the finesse player that was Hakeem Olajuwon. This was what the media was saying, and with Orlando jumping out to a 20-point lead in the second quarter of Game 1, the media was right. But slowly the Rockets began chipping away at that lead. Clyde Drexler started creating shots, and Kenny Smith started raining threes. With the Magic up 110-107, with Nick Anderson on the line, the Rockets needed some help to pull this one out. So Nick Anderson missed the first free throw, missed the second free throw, but got his own rebound and was fouled again, so again he was put on the line. And again, he missed the first free throw, missed the second free throw, and this time, Houston had possession. Down 3, Kenny Smith pulls up and drains his 7th three-pointer of the game, which at the time was an NBA Finals record. The Rockets would then go on to win the game in overtime with a Hakeem Olajuwon tip-in, now win the series, and so they ended up sweeping the Orlando Magic in the finals.
Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
That's it. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, please hit the like button. If you wouldn't mind sharing the video, that would be excellent. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I've been given daily content, and I'll be on Angry Old Hoops' live tomorrow. It's noon Eastern time. So anybody wants to tune into that, that'd be great. Love to have you. And that's it. Until next time.